Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'd like to do some work on this field maple. He's growing on a big sandstone and well, he needs a repot. We need to do some bud selection, we need to remove some weeds, and there is a dead root, and well, of course we have to deal with that too. So let's start. I'd like to start with the bud selection because on maples this is a very important issue. So here, for example, you see a typical fork of maples, and this is what happens when you cut back a branch. You get a little stump in the middle, and well, it's best to get rid of it when you can do that. But this is a very good branch positioning. The branch will grow this way, so one twig becomes two, and then this one in the middle is dead, it dies back. That's why you don't have to cut that branch completely to the junction of the two buds here, because if you do so you might lose the rest of the branch, and then you will have some dieback. So these are the good ones. There are other ones, like for example this. I'm going to zoom in a little more if I can. And outside it's raining. Maybe you can hear it. Okay, so here we have a bud under and a bud up, so the one under it can go, and you will have all kinds of buds everywhere that you need to get rid of. So that's what I'm going to do now. So every bud that is not really useful should come off. For example, we have one here. It has to come off. Well, it doesn't have to come off. There will be no harm done if you leave these things, but they will eat a part of the energy that the tree could use in a better way, so why keep them? So basically this is the cleaning up of the not wanted buds on the tree. And this is something you can do before you start the repot, because all the things that you cut off will fall on the surface of your pot, and then, well, you'll have to clean up the surface again, which is something that is not necessary if you do it this way. So this is an interesting branch. Might have to wire it. Here I have a thin branch in the inside of a bough, and it's at the same height as this one. This one I want to keep. This one I will remove. This one I should wire, but not during this season. Here we have a bud inside. Here we have a bud that doubles that branch, so it's useless. Here we have a whole lot of buds, but I don't know which one are really alive and which one are not, so I'm going to keep them all. This can be wired, so I can keep it. Yeah, you don't have to wire deciduous trees if you don't like that. You can just form them by pruning. That's completely possible. But I think most of the time when you do the forming of a tree like that, and you only do it by pruning, by directional pruning, most of the time it ends up with tack, 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 very straight pieces. And when you do a little wiring, well, a straight piece like that can become just a little bend, and it's more pleasing to the eye. So let's get this tree out of the pot now. So this is not a very big tree. Well, it feels like it has been growing quite all right. Okay. Now, before I do anything else, I think I'm going to take this pot inside and give it a nice wash, because I want to use the same pot. Okay, so the pot is almost completely clean, and now there are a few things that I need to do before I do the repot. As you see, this root died. That's not good. I noticed it in autumn, so there's nothing I can do. I must remove that. But when I saw this, I immediately took this root and guided it towards that one, so that it would have the direction of the old root. And what I intended to do then, and what I'm going to do now, is just cut this off. You see, it's dead. Yeah, it was not really, it was never a very strong root, you see. Well, okay. Gonna clean this up a little better. So this part is alive. Okay. So it's not a big disaster. I just want to put this root a little closer to the other one so that it is not completely straight. It's not easy to film these things and work at the same time. Okay, so this is all it's going to need. And I'm going to cut off the remaining parts because they are not very attractive. Okay, so that's more than enough. Of course, it's not a complete replacement for this root, but it will add some movement here. And if I really want, maybe I can insert a little seedling here, and, well, you know, technically with these broadleaf trees you can do whatever you want. So now I'm going to have a look at all these weeds, because some of these guys are really nasty. They're hiding between rocks and roots, so I really want to get them out before I start to work on this root ball. Oh, now it's hiding. Okay, gotcha. Okay. These are just surface weeds, that's no problem. That's again another. Okay, so this has to come completely off. Here we have a nice portion of chaotic roots. Okay. And so one of the things that I would like to do is dig a little deeper, see where the roots are starting to become flat, and maybe lift the tree a little more up so that more of the rock becomes visible. Because of course when you have a rock planting, the rock is a major part of your composition. So I'm just cleaning up the surface here. If you've been following here I have the root part of this horrible weed. Aha, that's a lot better. If you have been following this little project, you can see where we are now after a few years, and I think it looks cool. These are also weeds. The white thin roots, a little shiny, and most of the time are weeds. So this is definitely the part I'm going to lose, because there is no obvious sign of maple roots in this. Only these white weed roots. So I'm gonna continue that and I'll be back in a few seconds. So I think I'm done. I lost 1 good centimeter there. And you see some of these little roots, well, they are touching the ground now, but they're not doing a whole lot of work for the tree. What I want to do now is have a look at the bottom. You see, this is not a lot left, and what I see here is quite a consistent root mat, and it's most of the time completely just around the pot that it's growing. So I'm gonna get rid of that root mat here. Get it a little higher. As you see, we already have some new little white tips, which means that the tree is starting to grow, but we could see that on the buds, of course. So I'm losing the mat here, and then I'm going to prepare the pot. Maybe just loosen this up a little and cut that back. So here we have the pot, and here we have the tree. And yeah, what can I say? Maybe I should just leave it the way it is now. I'm going to lower the camera to see if we can agree on the position of the tree. Well, this is how it was. Yeah. Just tucking in the roots at the back. But I think it looks quite okay. Thing is, now I lowered some soil here. So that means that more of the roots and the rock are visible. And the only thing I need to do now is fill up the rest of the pot with the new soil. I can of course loosen some of the roots here without cutting them off, and then the new soil mix, which contains a little more organic material and cat litter and stuff like that, will probably merge better. I feel that I have a solid root mat here, so maybe this is something we will discover in a year or two when I do a next tree pot. I can maybe dig a little deeper, which might also be very interesting. I'd like it to have the roots here and then a solid root base covering the surface. That would be really cool. It would give the impression of a root climbing, rock climbing root system completely on a mountain. Well, I think I kind of like that idea. That's why I also have a few smaller rocks outside, sandstone, of course. I want to use the same as I have here. So I'm going to take them and maybe have a look if I can include them in the composition. So I'm going to take one or two of these. Might be an interesting feature. Okay, so there are two rocks. Sorry, this one is nice. There's a hole in it, so I don't know if you can see that there's a hole. Yeah, this is nice. It has some moss, and this is a little more rock style. So I don't know. It's always nice also to have a rock a little bit out of the pot. Of course, I gained some room here and here, so I can reposition the tree. Now, if I reposition the tree, I think I maybe should do it like so, because then this cascading branch has a little more room, and then this might add some interest like so. It gives some perspective because it is in the very back of the pot. So this might be fun. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. It's always easy to remove these things afterwards, so it doesn't matter. And well, let me know in the comment what you think. So gonna add some soil here. I'm gonna have a look from behind the camera. It's strange how these things look different when you look through the camera lens. I'm gonna zoom in to see. Well, I think it's very nice. It's very nice. It's not too much. Yeah, I'll go with it. Okay. So I'm gonna fill up the rest of the pot with soil and I'll be back. Just brushing the roots here, because I can see now that I lost at least 1 centimeter, because these roots are still wet and have another color than the ones that were sticking out of the soil. So that's good. And I'm going to clean up the pots a little. See, I'm just using this brush to tidy up the whole thing. So there are still little parts of soil between these roots, but I will remove them when they dry out. It's much easier. So that is something that I will do in the growing season, when I take a little walk between the trees. I always have my material with me and I do little things, so. But these are not things that I film, of course, because, well, it's the little things, the details. So that's it. Well, I think this tree has improved some. Yeah, a little bit at the time. Yeah. So it's ready for the growing season. The new rock is, well, quite solidly in place, and it will well, fix itself when it gets rain and so on. It gives a nice little touch. Well, I hope you liked it, so thank you for watching and see you next time.